Hello?
Yep.
Yes, I'm ready to go.
Okay, I will transfer you in. Okay, Roger, you have Rick.
Hello, Mr. Corman. My name is Rick Bello. How are you today?
Very good. They call me Roger, and what is the station?
Very good. Well, first off, I want to thank you for doing the interview. I'm from a website called geekdad.com with a show called Hey You Geeks. And want to start off by asking you, over your obviously very long career in Hollywood, what is it you think about Death Race that's a story that keeps to resurface? It comes back time after time.
Well, the original Death Race 2000, which won a poll as the greatest B picture of all time, which kind of makes me the king of the second raters.
Mhm.
But at any rate, the original Death Race uh, was rather original and outrageous. It was, I shot it in the 1970s. It was Death Race 2000, a
Mhm.
futuristic car racing film in which the drivers were scored on how fast they could drive from New York to Los Angeles and
Mhm.
how many other drivers they could kill or knock off the road. And
Mhm.
most importantly, and this is what made the picture so unique and such a success, uh, how many pedestrians they could kill.
Mhm.
Now, that you don't often come up with something original, and I believe that's an original idea. So, what did when I came up with the idea of killing the pedestrians, I said I can't take this too seriously. So I added a certain amount of satirical humor. So the picture is a rather strange hybrid of the car racing, uh, the killing of pedestrians, and a comment on the use of violence uh, to control the population as entertainment, going
Yeah.
all the way back to the Roman gladiatorial games and circus and so forth. So it's a very complex picture with
Yes.
uh, certain comments on society within it, with humor, but above all, it's a car racing film.
Absolutely. Now, as you've seen things evolve over time, have you yourself been surprised at the evolution of America's sort of enjoyment of reality television? And obviously, we're not at the point of Death Race, but we really have become a society that enjoys sort of this very high competition, borderline gladiatorial sort of entertainment.
Yes, I am aware of that, and that was being part of my thought,
Mhm.
which was reality television brings the audience into the show, and that was one of the reasons for the killing of the pedestrians. I wanted to bring the audience into the show rather than just sitting watching gladiators or watching mixed martial arts or something.
Mhm.
I wanted to integrate the audience and the action.
And that showed a lot of forethought because I mean, obviously, the shows that we see nowadays have that level of audience participation where people call in or vote or have these other things that attach themselves to that. So it is quite it's an amazing film that you were able to kind of have that level of foresight back in 1975 going forward. So what do you think now as you have Death Race 2050? What differentiates Death Race 2050 from the original Death Race 2000?
Well, the original was based on a futuristic outlook from the 1970s.
Mhm.
This is now a futuristic view from 2016.
Mhm.
For instance, the name of our country is no longer the United States of America. It is the United Corporations of America, as
Mhm.
you can see economically the increasing power of major corporations. Malcolm McDowell plays the chairman of the board of the United Corporations of America, which is the what would have been called earlier the President of the United States. Plus, we've changed the concept of most of the drivers for instance, one of my favorites is Tammy the Terrorist,
Hmm.
who is the leader of a terrorist because there's so much terrorist activity. She's the leader of a cult terrorist religion in which she tries to blow up everybody she can, as well as hit them with the car.
Hmm.
We have another car that is a self-driving car because that's in research today, but nobody would have thought of that in the 1970s. One of the drivers is a genetically engineered perfect man, Jed Perfectus, because again, that's in the works of genetic engineering today. So we tried to reimagine all of the characters and relate them to what's going on today and what might be the future of the research that's taking place today.
Excellent, excellent. Well, if you don't mind, I want to ask you an interesting, well, another question. But you've been in the business, in the film business, since the 1950s. So you've had now
Yeah.
seven decades, and you've been able to see film, be affected first by television, and then by cable, and then by video, and now by the internet. So you have a very unique perspective of seeing it throughout those periods. What do you think has changed or affected, especially independent film, over all those different sort of upheavals?
Well, what maintains on independent films is the fact that you're able to gamble more with a lower budget. For instance, Death Race itself, probably the original, would not have been made by a major studio. If I told them I wanted to kill pedestrians in a car racing picture, I would have been ushered out of the studio very quickly.
Yes.
But as an independent, I could make it. So what stays is the fact that you can be more experimental, more daring with an independent film.
Mm.
Two other points I would say. One, it's easier to make a film today because of the digital cameras, the lightweight equipment, and so forth. Uh, you can make a film faster and less expensively. Um, that's a change for the good. What's changed for the bad is the fact that when I started, every film I made and every film that I knew of that at least had some modest degree of competence got a full theatrical release. The original Death Race 2000, of course, did get a full theatrical release and did extremely well. This one now will go to DVD, and then they have plans for Netflix and one. Universal has various deals with it, but it will uh, bypass theatrical. When I sold them the remake rights, they remade it a number of times. The first one went theatrically, but each of the others has gone to DVD, which will happen Death Race 2050 in January.
Mm.
Oh,
So,
incidentally,
oh yes.
I forget the name of the picture is Roger Corman, Death Race 2050.
Mhm.
That was suggested by Universal. I said, I don't think that sounds like a real title to me. No, they said, no, we want that to be the title.
Well, I mean, I can understand that. I mean, as a long-standing fan of yours, I read your book, How to Make 100 Films in Hollywood and Not Lose a Dime, when I was very young, and it had a big impact on me and sort of my enjoyment of independent films and introducing me to your films as well, and giving me a love of independent films. So I think there's definitely a value when they put your name at the beginning of that title, that masthead, because I think there's a lot of people who definitely respect your work and everything you've done, and hope to see more. Um, any closing thoughts, Mr. Corman, about uh, Death Race films or independent film in general? What do you think going forward that we might see in the future for independent films or films like this?
I think you're going to see a continuation of the concept of originality in the independent world. The major studios uh, uh, seem to be remaking one comic strip after another and one $200 million picture after another. They're playing it to a certain extent safe, because when you've got a budget like that, uh, it's difficult to try to take a chance and gamble with $200 million.
Hmm.
But on films such as this, which cost less, you can gamble, and I think it's a nice step forward for Universal to recognize that and
Hmm.
and to go to independent filmmakers on a gambling original kind of film.
And do you think, with the climate that we're in today, I mean, you were able to facilitate for a lot of very important filmmakers, uh, people like Ron Howard and people like Martin Scorsese. You were able to give them an entryway into the business, and like you said, have them create films that were seen in the cinema. Do you think that it's tougher now for young filmmakers, to get that opportunity that you were able to give so many people at some point, at one point?
I don't think it's necessarily tougher because independent films are still being made. A large percentage of them are with new writers, directors, producers, and even actors. The toughness, as I say, is not in the making of the film; it's in the distribution of it.
Yes. All right. Well, Mr. Corman, I want to thank you so much for your time, and I also want to thank you for your body of work, because, like I had said, your body of work has been something that has certainly entertained and enlightened me my whole career. And I look forward. Well, I've seen the film, but I look forward to it being released and for other people to see it, and for maybe some younger generations to hear the name Roger Corman and look for your other works as well.
Very good. Thank you, Ray.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day.